This episode of Golf Smarter Mulligans is brought to you by DynamicGolfers.com. I'm sure that the folks at Dynamic Golfers won't mind me sharing my latest round with you because there's no question that my daily 15 to 20 minute morning workouts with Dynamic Golfers have had a huge impact. Let's start with the fact that 4 of my last 5 rounds have been in the 70s. I've never been that consistent or confident, but this past Sunday was completely different in that it was truly the first time I've ever felt in control of what was happening during my game. Actually, I can recount only 4 bad shots I had during the round, but each time, except one, I was able to get up and down for par. The other time was on a par 3 over water that felt really great when the ball left the club. But unfortunately, there was a big headwind and the ball hit the edge of the bank and dribbled backwards into the water for my only double of the day. Otherwise, I had 2 birdies. I hit 11 fairways. I had 12 greens in regulation and 31 putts. So I ended up shooting 37-37, just 1 over on each side. So even though it was the 3rd time I've shot 74, what made it different was that how comfortable I was, how smooth my rhythm felt, and how much in control and committed I felt over practically every shot. Was it all because of Dynamic Golfers? Of course not. I've been practicing with a purpose a lot lately. I was inspired by my recent interviews with Dr. Parent and today's Golf Smarter guest, Jim Venetos, and next week's guest sports psychologist, Dr. Bob Jones IV. Yes, Bobby Jones' grandson, who gave me one tip that blew my mind, and you'll have to hear that next week. And also, I went for a half-mile swim before the round. But through it all, the one constant... 2 constants were the lessons I've learned from Golf Smarter and my daily 15 to 20 minute morning workouts from Dynamic Golfers. So if you want to play better golf, focus on the most important tool in your bag, your body. For only $9.99 a month, that's less than a sleeve of balls. Join golfers worldwide that make Dynamic Golfers part of their daily routine. Go to dynamicgolfers.com/golfsmarter now and get a 7-day free trial and 15% off your membership when you check out using the coupon code GolfSmarter. Again, that's dynamicgolfers.com/golfsmarter. And remember to get the discount, enter GolfSmarter at checkout, and do it soon because this offer may not last.
Welcome to Golf Smarter Mulligans, your second chance to gain insight and advice from the best instructors featured on the Golf Smarter podcast. Great golf instruction never gets old. Our interview library features hundreds of hours of game improvement conversations like this that are no longer available in any podcast app.
As an announcer, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Well, as an announcer, well, there's not really many golfers. When I started in '86, they were all professional announcers, and they were all very good. And, they had their place in announcing society, and if there were golfers there, they were very good players. So here comes this guy that's just, couldn't play a lick, and he's loud and obnoxious from Southern California. And, I remember asking Pat Summerall, I said, Pat, I don't know what to be in this team here. What do I do? And he looked at me and he goes, why don't you just try to be yourself? He said, that should be pretty easy. And I went, okay. So I just kind of was myself. I didn't try to be an actor playing a role. I just tried to be myself. That's the best advice I got.
With another interview from the archives of Golf Smarter, here's your host, Fred Green.
Our guest this week is Gary McCord, the hilarious and outrageous announcer and analyst for CBS golf broadcasts. When I was approached by the Scottsdale Convention and Visitors Bureau about our latest promotion with the Waste Management Phoenix Open, formerly the FBR, I asked if I can get someone to interview who could possibly pump a little juice into our giveaway. They started tossing out some names, and when they suggested Gary McCord, I said, "Ho, stop right there." So that one, resonated well with me. Gary lives in the Scottsdale area, has announced that event for years with CBS, so I was very excited to speak with him about it. But I didn't want to talk about just that event, and you'll hear why. A couple of inside notes. He specifically asked that we not talk about Tiger. So I didn't. And you may have noticed that of all the CBS golf broadcasts they do each year, Gary is not part of the Masters announce team. Apparently he said something that pissed off the folks at Augusta National a couple of years ago and has not been working at that event since. Clearly, my kind of guy. Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Gary.
Fred, how's everything going?
It's going well. Thank you very much. I really enjoy your work on the golf broadcasts. You're very entertaining. You make it worth tuning in because you just don't know which guy you're going to be rooting for in any given day, but you definitely get to root for Gary McCord.
Well, I appreciate that. That'd be nice if everybody felt that way, but they don't. But thank you anyway.
I do want to ask you something about the tour itself. I'm curious because this program is really focused on the recreational golfer and trying to find ways to improve, trying to find a better mental game, learning that stuff. But I'm really curious about something. We've had this conversation multiple times. Do you think there should be a separate set of rules for competitive play and for recreational play?
Yeah, I really do. We're in the midst of this groove situation now that doesn't affect anybody other than 0.001% of the golfing population, and basically no one cares anyway. I mean, it's not even a big deal. You're going to spend the ball a little less. They'll figure that out real quick, and let's get on with it. I mean, Jesus, just ad nauseum. This thing is building and building. But I think they're doing the right thing. They're just making it more difficult for these guys that are really good to play out of the longer grass or whatever they do but they regulate the PGA Tour and that little group of guys and let everybody else do what they're doing. The golf scores, believe me, have not improved in the last 20 years. And in fact, with this technology, all my buddies, they're hitting it farther into the trees on the right.
Exactly.
And they're not getting any better. It's harder and harder to find their balls now.
Right.
So,
which slows down the pace of play.
Let them do anything they want. Just go out and have some fun, enjoy the game, and if you want to take out 25 clubs and go play, fine. That's not helping anybody, So let them go. Us, on the other hand, the guys that play for a living, there should be some rules and regulations. Probably tighten it up a little bit to keep the ball from going so far and making everything so ridiculous as far as the distances these guys are hitting it.
And if you had the opportunity to make any suggestions, not like anyone's listening, but what things would you suggest that would be different for the recreational golfer? What kind of rules would you change? What kind of things would you say, you know what?
Well, I don't know if I'd change any of the rules. I just wouldn't make any rules to redirect their flow to playing the game and having fun at it. Let them use those, the big-headed clubs. Let them use the box grooves around the green. I haven't got one of my buddies who can spin the ball anywhere on a green, so that's not going to help. So just let them use what these manufacturers are building, and as far as the technology part of it, let them try to hit it longer and farther and make more putts. I mean, that's what's going to keep them going out there the next day to play the game. It's not because they don't want to make the game harder, because it's pretty hard already, as we've seen by the National Golf Foundation and what the scores are for the last 20 years.
Right.
It's just a hard game, but don't make it any harder.
And would you make changes to golf? Well, like all the new golf courses that are being built are just longer and longer and longer. But
and
more expensive.
You can build them as long as you want, but you don't have to play those back tees.
Right.
They make them with 5-6 sets of tees. So, I play a golf course here in Scottsdale, and I still play the back tees just because I've still got an ego. I'm 61. I can still get it out there, and, I'm clinging to life barely from those back tees. And I know one of these days in the near future, I'm going to have to wander up to the next set of tees and not go back there again. So I'm fighting for my Darwinian life at this particular point.
Is that an ego thing?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's all ego. It's all it is, because I don't want anybody to see me on the other tees right now. If any of my buddies or the tour pros see me up there, they're going to laugh at me. So I got to get over that, and I'll get over that when, they outdrive me by 50 yards now anyway. So, but it's just that, you got to let it go, as we say, just let it go. But don't go to the back tees. You don't have to make the game fun. Go to the next tee up or the next tee, whatever makes you play the game at the level you want to play it at. Go there and have some fun, so you want to come back the next day.
Do you get to play recreationally, or is it mostly competitive?
All the time. I yearn much more now for the recreational golf with my buddies than I do playing the Champions Tour. I only play about 5 events now, just to go out there and say hi to the guys. But I go out there and use that to get ready for my buddies at home to play in our matches and so forth. That's where that fun is. Now I'm going around just like everybody else. You go and you get some guys, and or the ladies get some other ladies. They go travel and they play, a couple, 3 golf courses for 3 days and have some fun. That's what I really enjoy now. And
you still get to do that?
Yeah.
Because you're awfully busy.
Well, I'm busy, but I still, when I go play, when I go to San Diego to do the San Diego tournament here now. The Farmers just got a sponsor. The Farmers San Diego Open, Farmers Insurance San Diego Open. I'm going to go there 2 days early so I can play golf with all my CBS buddies, all the announcers, and we go have at it and gamble and have some fun, and then go do the telecast. It's not real hard work. So I plan everything around the golf.
And how has being in the booth or being a broadcaster, you're actually out in the field most of the time, but how has that affected your view of the game? Does it give you a different perspective on everything?
Yeah, it's a higher perspective. That's about it. I can't do what those guys do at my age and watch these young kids go out there and hammer it and do all that. I can't do that. So I just watch and enjoy it like everybody else, and try to relate that to the audience that's listening and have some fun with it. That's about it. Not that hard.
And what is the state of the game right now? And I don't mean the tour itself. I mean golf.
Golf is hurting. It's really hurting. It got whooped upside the head with this economy. The one thing that's been pulled back dramatically is the recreational golfer that can't afford to travel to go to places like Scottsdale, Arizona, to go to Myrtle Beach, to go to Florida to play golf and do that. They got to sit home and watch their pennies and not go out and do the stuff they used to do. So I see it a lot now. The one that's really hurting is that mid-level private club that it's not as high end as the other private clubs, but they're really hurting. There's a lot of golf courses that right now are just trying to come up with some kind of scheme to get people to show up, and it's bleak out there. It really is bleak.
Yeah, and retail's not doing well either, but they keep coming up with new products that are supposed to be revolutionary, but they don't get any leeway in their design constrictions, right? I mean, you have to have a driver head that is this big.
Well, I mean,
and so they have to come up with new names for the same thing. Yeah,
well, one thing in life is that you're always going to try to find that Bubba driver that you can hit it 20 yards past your buddies with. That's going to be the ongoing deal. Now, at this particular time, there's not a big hurry to the pro shops and so forth to get that because of the recession. But again, everything's cyclical. Everything is going to come back. So, 5, 6, 7 years from now, we're going to be talking about, going and traveling and playing golf and doing this and that. Hopefully,
yeah. That's encouraging.
Hopefully it'll turn, and we'll get back to where it was. But right now it's very difficult, and it's people are having to come up with new ideas, new business models, new plans to stave off this and still stay competitive, still stay above ground, and not let the banks get it, and go from there. So it'll get leaner and meaner, and hopefully better now in the next couple of years.
Because you get a chance now to play a lot of recreational golf, what do you see as the most common mistake that most amateur golfers make when they're out there?
Well, they make every mistake possible, just so they can fill out all the blanks. There's not anything my buddies do that they do right. Nothing.
Do you keep your mouth shut?
They drink a lot. The process of them drinking on the golf course has not gotten any worse. They still are brilliant at that. But the golf is just pitiful. It's awful to watch. It's awful to be a part of. But they have fun and they keep they keep coming back. They'll figure it out sooner or later. I think it's more of an exercise in futility and going out there and having fun and getting outdoors than anything else. Because I know they're not practicing much.
Do you offer advice ever, or do you just try to keep your mouth shut?
I learned a long time ago when I played in Pro-Ams, and I've been on the tour since '74, that if I'm ever going to give anybody any advice, it's usually by about the 16th hole. I start, okay, now listen, Jim, I've been watching you for the last 15 holes. You know what? I think you can really get better at your game if you do these two things. You never give them any more than two things because they can't handle that.
Okay.
You give them two things.
Good advice.
Then I monitor those two things for the next two holes, 17, 18. And initially they always get better faster. Oh, I understand that. Yeah, good. And they hit a couple of good shots. There we go, good. If you do that on the third hole, they usually start screwing up by 7, and they're worse than they were when I gave them the opportunity to try this or do that, and then the narcissism starts back at the golf pro. So I learned a long time ago from a couple of veterans out there on the tour, don't say anything until about 16. So that's kind of what I do with my buddies. I'll say, hey, listen, try this, go on the range, hit a couple balls, do that. About half of them listen, the other half, they just go back to the bar.
Oh, that's such great. That is
probably good advice.
Yeah, that's great advice because, you've seen, as you're absolutely right, because people, they tweak the entire round of golf. They're tweaking swings, they're tweaking clubs. And it's like, what are you doing? Just go back to what you're comfortable with and stop messing with this.
Yeah, it's and I play a lot of golf with Peter Costas, who's a world-class teacher. And, Peter's got kind of the same mindset when we go out and play with, people and so forth. And you can't start teaching them on 2 because now all it's going to be is you giving a lesson for the next 16 holes. And you kind of want to go out there. We go places and play with different guys at their home course and everything, try to have fun. But so we've kind of learned that you do it late and give them just a couple of things, no more than that, and let them get better that way and go work on it. And the advice is good, but if you just can't do it early. Can't do it early in the round.
Great advice, especially to parents. If you're going to go out and play with your kids,
let them get to about 50 or 60, and then start giving them advice.
and guys who play with their wives, shh.
Well,
stop.
That's a whole different deal. I'm not even going to talk about that.
Okay, fine. So you talk about. Let's just move on to Peter Costas. You guys have a golf school together. You partner on that?
Yeah, we did have it at
did.
Greyhawk. Yeah, and one of my best friends on Greyhawk, and he fired me. So,
wait a minute, your name was on.
I was with him today. Yeah, and
your name was on the neon sign. What do you mean he fired you?
Yeah, he fired me. He took the name off the wall and everything else, and they fired us. I don't blame him. I was there for like 15 years and never gave a lesson. he had a point. Oh well, what are you going to do?
Do you try to be funny, or does it just come out easy?
Life is funny. Life is funny.
And I understand. I was reading, bio about you and stuff, and you went to school with a funny man, huh? Is that true?
Oh yeah. It was Steve Martin. He was the head cheerleader at Garden Grove High School. He was nuts, by the way. He was the first guy. In life, when you remember things. You remember your first date. You remember your high school, the first prom. I remember the first crazy guy I ever met. Because I didn't know really what crazy was. You were scared to death in high school. And all of a sudden there was this crazy guy. This guy was nuts. I mean, he was full bore nuts, and I'd never seen anything like it. And then I remember one time I was sitting there watching TV, 10, 15 years later. I look up and I see this guy with balloons on his head, an arrow through his head. I went, my God, I know that guy. And I ran over to my annual, my yearbook.
Right.
And I said, I remember the guy. I don't remember his name or anything. And I'm going through it, and there it is, Steve Martin. Perfect. I mean, he was doing the same things in high school.
Oh,
so anyway, yeah, that was he probably affected me more than anything because I really saw crazy, and I became a close-up magician. He was a close-up magician, and I really liked what he does. He's kind of a Renaissance guy, and he's different and a great comedian, and I went to high school with him. He didn't know me. He was a cheerleader, and I was on the basketball team. He had no idea who I was. To this day, he probably doesn't know me.
Hey, who knows? You could have gone to school with Frank Zappa, right? He grew up in that area.
I went to school with the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. They were also at Garden Grove High School.
Yeah, well, like San Bernardino or something. Frank Zappa grew up in that area, and
that explains Frank Zappa if he grew up in San Bernardino.
Yeah. Oh,
that explains a lot.
Yep, absolutely.
We won't go any more than that. I want to get.
But Steve Martin, wait, you were doing sleight of hand tricks?
Me?
Yeah. You're doing card tricks?
I became a close-up magician. Just I had to be a member of the IBM, which is the International Brotherhood of Magicians, and I learn a whole act basically, and blah blah blah. I needed to have a handle to get in. I couldn't play good enough to get in pro-ams and so forth. And I saw many years ago that was going to be pretty lucrative. You got Mondays and so forth. They had nothing to do, and they get a group of guys together with some business guys and maybe a corporation to throw a little deal, and I couldn't get in through my golf, but I played the tour, and all the other players went, oh, they got this idiot over here who also does a magic act. So I'd go in there for a half hour and sit down with the guys and, pull some sponges out and a bunch of card tricks and coin tricks, and they'd go, ooh, and that was it. So it worked. It worked.
Now I'm really confused. Did you grow up wanting to be a professional golfer?
No, baseball. And then my arm blew up in baseball, and then I started playing golf late, which is about 15, and I got it kind of took over everything, every waking moment, because the pursuit was very interesting. It was very hard, and I liked the individuality of the game. If whatever you put into it, you're going to get directly proportionally back. So the harder you practice, the better you got, and there was no limit to how much you could practice. So it was fun. It was fun to pursue, and it's I couldn't play a lick, and I got a home in Paradise Valley and one in Vail, Colorado, and that's pretty good for a guy who couldn't play a lick. So I love the game. Absolutely love it.
It's been good to you.
It's been baseball's been very, very good to me.
Yeah, right.
I love golf.
Oh, that's fabulous. So what's your greatest competitive golf moment, your biggest victory?
I shouldn't take that long because I haven't won that many. But I won the.
Well, it could have been a moral victory.
I won
it could have been
emotional
victory.
Yeah, it could be. They're all moral victories. You're right. Actually, the trophy I most covet is a trophy I got in 1963 at the Futurama Lanes for perfect attendance on my bowling team. And I gave all my trophies away. I did. I gave all my trophies away. I kept that one. It was about 3 inches tall. Perfect attendance. I never missed a bowling match in 1963.
How was your game?
Pretty much like golf. Getting gutter once in a while, and I'd knock over a couple of pins the other. So
were you breaking 200 on a regular basis, or barely ever?
No.
Have you?
No. I have, but I'm okay. I'm all right. Nothing to write home about. But anyway, it was probably the Players Championship on the senior tour. I won that, which is a pretty big deal, and so that's probably I won the NCAA. That was 100 years ago. But anyway. They're few and far between. I don't like to focus on my wins. I love my losses.
Why?
Many.
Because you learn so much. Because you learn so much from losing, right?
You do. You learn from your mistakes, and I should be the smartest guy in the world.
As a golfer, what is the best advice you've ever received?
don't do it for a living, and I didn't adhere to that. And I many years ago, an old buddy of mine, he watched me and he goes, "You can't do this for a living. You'll never make it." And he was right, absolutely right.
But that had to hurt stubborn. At the time.
No, it was good advice, and so I was just stubborn, trying to prove him wrong. I never did, but maybe it kept me out there, and it kept me out there long enough to get the nice gig with CBS. So
right.
It did turn out pretty good.
Is he still your friend?
No, he's dead now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
God, he's dead.
Yeah, good, Fred. Just keep asking questions. You're going to get yourself in trouble for one of these. All right, then let's go. Okay, as an announcer, what's the best advice you've ever received? Now I'm looking for my own help.
Well, as an announcer, early in my career, when I got with CBS, I was nothing. I wasn't anything. I looked around at all the other guys, and they had all won. Well, there's not really many golfers. When I started in '86, they were all professional announcers, and they were all very good. And they had their place in announcing society, and if there were golfers there, they were very good players. So here comes this guy that's just couldn't play a lick, and he's loud and obnoxious, and from Southern California, and I remember asking Pat Summerall, I said, Pat, I don't know what to be in this team here. What do I do? And he looked at me and he goes, why don't you just try to be yourself? He said, that should be pretty easy. And I went, okay. So I just kind of was myself. I didn't try to be something else, an actor playing a role. I just trying to be myself. That's the best advice I got.
Do you like watching golf tournaments live?
Yeah. I don't like to watch. I won't listen to me. But I like to watch. I don't. I can't. I just cringe. But I like to watch. Yeah, I like to watch golf. I was watching it last night. I was watching the. Yeah.
Well, that was my next question. Do you like to watch golf on TV? How's the state of the game on television, from your perspective? Do you think they do a good job?
It's here's the state of the game. Here's the state of the game, basically. You've got brilliant colors. You've got green grass. You got white bunkers, blue sky, and blue water. And usually it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to put every one of my buddies asleep on the couch if they're watching me do golf. And that's kind of it. It's sleep inducing. We'll never get around that because we have to talk in whispers and so forth. But it's fun to watch the pictures. I love to watch. And I've been doing it forever, and I sit there and watch it. I was watching Hawaii yesterday. I go, wow, look at that water. That water is so cool, and the green's right next to the water. Nothing about the golf or anything like that. It was just the pictures. The pictures are great. And it's always going to be about the pictures. Bottom line, it's where you are. You're up the mountains. You're on the ocean. You're in the desert. All the environments are different. The holes kind of all look the same, but there's different stuff going on, and that's kind of what I just as a viewer, I'm not saying this as anything else, but as a viewer, that's kind of what I'm going to get out of golf. And probably 20 years ago we got that, and 30 years in the future will probably be saying the same thing.
Yeah, you're not going to get that by watching a football game.
No, you got the same. You couldn't tell what stadium you're in because there's people on each side, and it's a stadium, and it's got 100 yards there, and it's got a couple of goalposts and some cheerleaders on each side that you can't figure out what team they're on or rooting for or whatever. And there's guys going up and down the field, but it's all the same. Golf is different. It's when you're watching the European Tour and you're watching a tournament in Abu Dhabi and you see the desert out there and Bedouin society out there and so forth, so on. Then you go to Hawaii or you go to the mountains of North Carolina. It's all kind of different, but it's all cool. It's all, the pictures are vivid and they're colorful, and it's fun to watch.
I'll tell you, my biggest frustration in watching golf, and I really do enjoy watching, especially the majors. I mean, there's such great storylines going on, and you can build the tension and make it very compelling. But the most frustrating element of watching golf on television is when you get those close-ups of the ball in midair, and you have no idea what the ball is doing. Sometimes I think I would like to see, like what Fox tried to do with hockey, and you put a blue streak so you can kind of follow the puck, right? So if you have that shot where you can see what the ball flight is doing, I get it now, where the ball's going and see the draw and how they.
Here's the next innovation in television. And I've been trying to push this for a while, and you can't do it because we haven't got the money to do it. But see if this would be cool for you. Okay, let's say you have this shot, and it's a drivable par 4, and you can hit it over the trees. It's a dog leg to the left. Let's say you hit it over the trees, and there's water all around the green. And this guy gets on the tee. Let's say Freddie Couples gets on the tee, and he takes this big, vicious swing, and he cuts the dog leg, and he's trying to drive it on, okay? Mm-hmm. Well, you come back in real time. That means if real time is a nanosecond after it happens, it's on the tape machine, it comes back, but it comes back as animation. And we've seen the animation. You've seen it from Augusta. The animation is just about as good as a real picture now. It's unbelievable how good it is.
It's unbelievable what they've been able to accomplish.
It's unbelievable. So let's say now that picture now is animation. If it's an animation, the camera is global. That means we can put the camera anywhere you want to put it. So the director comes back and he immediately goes, okay, the camera is now the golf ball. So you are now on the tee and Freddie hits you. There you go. You're going up over the trees. You can see everybody at home. It's going to be like a video game. You're going to be on a ride. So if you're sitting on your chair or your couch, you're going to be pulling up. Pull up airplane. You're going to have that joystick basically. Pull up over that, and you get over the trees, and now you start up and you get to the pinnacle of the shot. Now you start coming down. You see the water on the left. You kind of know where he's hit the shot before, but now you're actually the ball as it's traveling that exact shot. So you now start flying down. You either pitch yourself on the green or in the bunker or in the trees or whatever and bounce around. But to make it more of a video game and make it more of a Disneyland ride. And if we do that, now my buddies on the couch, they will wake up. Mm-hmm. They will wake up to take the ride. Or if a guy just holds a 50-footer, okay, over 3 tiers, and all of a sudden, the director puts you in the golf ball, and now here you go, you're hit, and you start rolling on that grass. Can you imagine everybody leaning at home? If you don't like the guy, you're going to lean out trying to pull the ball out of the hole at the last second, and but most of the guys will be on the right, and you'll be riding on the green and so forth. So I think that would be really cool. It would cost a little money. Well, a lot of money.
I don't think that stopped any. I don't think any network has stopped because of what it was going to cost. I mean, especially now, technology is moving so fast, and innovation is happening on a regular basis. I think the idea of a camera built inside of a ball may be really interesting.
Well, it doesn't have to be. It's not built inside of it. It's animation, so you can put the camera anywhere.
I think we can just put a camera right in the ball.
Well, you could do that. The camera might, if a couple of those guys that hit it hard the camera's going to come flying out.
Yeah, like the little lipstick lenses they put on, in second base or on first base.
Real little.
Real little.
Lipstick cameras are a little longer than that, so we'd have a problem there. But you could do it in animation.
Now, you're based in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area now.
Yeah.
You're talking about how beautiful golf courses can be, and there are some pretty gorgeous courses. Mm-hmm. Are you in that area because of the golf and because of weather that is, tolerable most of the time? Or is that what drew you to that area?
Are we being real honest here with all this?
Absolutely.
I'm here because I actually started to make some money a while ago, and I need to get out of California because of the taxes.
The taxes.
Yeah, that was kind of the reason. So,
the migration out.
Yeah, and so I was all part of that migration back. This was, 20 years ago.
And Phoenix was small.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't what are we now, the 7th or 8th largest city in the United States. But I love it. I absolutely love it. And we're close enough now and get back to see my family back in California. It's only about a 5-hour drive, so that's
not bad.
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a promotion. We're doing a promotion with the Scottsdale Convention and Visitors Bureau to give away for a grand prize to allow a listener to come out to Scottsdale and go to the FBR Open, sit in the skybox of the 16th hole, that great par 3, and they
that's
also
the one
get.
I'm stationed on.
Oh, is that where you're going to be? I'll have them wave. Yeah. And then they're also going to get a chance to play golf at Greyhawk and they're going to get a couple nights stay out of it. It's a great promotion that we're doing with them. We're very excited about it. Tell us about why the FBR Open, which is now the Waste Management Phoenix Open, why it's such a fun event, and why they should enter this contest.
It's insane. Actually, it's insane. It's nothing. We have nothing like it. Nothing, not close.
On the tour, you mean?
Yeah, most golf tournaments are going to get, the most, they're going to get 6,000 to 10,000 people a day. So they're looking at, 50,000 to 60,000 people for the week. Be really, really good. Okay? Well, on Monday afternoon, they get 60,000 people. I used to MC the shootouts. And I used to MC these shootouts, and every place I did them, there would be 400 or 500 people. And in Scottsdale, there's 20,000 people following you. So it's hard to do stand-up for like 3 hours in front of 20,000 people walking around out there with a microphone. And we'll get 150,000 to 170,000 people just on Saturday.
Oh my! Well, and this year it's not Super Bowl Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's not Super Bowl Sunday, so you won't have that max exodus on Sunday to get out of there to get to the Super Bowl. So that shit, the weather's, it all depends on the weather. The weather's decent, which it has been forever. At the turnout, we get 520,000 to 560,000 people for the week, which is absurd. And most of them have no clue about golf. They're not there for the golf. They're there for the activities. And there are plenty of activities going on out there, day and night. And it's just a giant frat party is what it is.
So even if you want to go, forget it. It's just going to be really hard to get there. And the idea that we're giving it away is definitely worth checking out. You should enter this contest.
Yeah, you got to go because you got to see this thing before you die. I mean, this is quite a spectacle.
Well, you just made me really nervous because they've invited me to come out and play with the press on Tuesday and then play in the Pro-Am on Wednesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was thinking, so I get to play next to somebody, but I didn't think there was going to be people watching.
There'll be a lot of people watching. They'll be assessing your game as the holes go on. Yes. So.
Oh, this is not good.
Be ready for some rude interruptions as to the condition of your game.
Oh, this is not good.
No, it's not going to be good. No. You will not go out there. You will not go out there in anonymity. You'll be out there with a couple 10,000 of your finest friends.
And don't expect to play my best.
Yeah, well, no, you got no chance. It'll be awful. I can see it now. It's just going to be awful.
So it's all about having a good attitude.
Play through it. Yeah. I would drink a lot and just play through the stupidity of the whole thing.
Are you playing in these Pro-Ams?
No, well, actually, this year we're not doing it because we have the Super Bowl and all our equipment's got to be at the Super Bowl. So we don't have Phoenix this year. Every fourth year, I believe, we don't have Phoenix. So the Golf Channel will be doing it this year.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, God, it would have been nice to be able to play with you because you would have told me to calm down.
You got no chance. Just I could caddy for you, but the fee would be way out of your.
I'm a podcaster. We don't carry fees. We don't.
I see. You don't have anything to do with fees. No, nothing. Okay.
Forget it. Never going to happen. Gary, it's really been a lot of fun talking to you. I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to talk to our little global audience of podcast listeners here.
Well, thanks, Fred. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And good luck with your game out there. And if I were you, just one simple suggestion, wear a mask. They'll never know. They'll never know. Okay? That's just a suggestion.
It's a good one.
Thank you.